Hello students, I am your Bhushan sir. Hope all is well. Take care of your safety and health in this pandemic time. Well, we have learnt about few non-conventional energy resources in the previous class. We have understood that non-conventional energy resources are new forms of energy resources which are present in abundant quantity, inexhaustible, and even renewable. They are used with the novel technologies available to us at present. So in this lane, today, we shall understand the next non-conventional energy type, namely tidal energy or tidal power. Tidal energy or tidal power is taken from the tides of oceans. We know that 3/4 of the earth has oceans and seas. They produce enormous tidal force. The movement of tides are governed by the gravitational force of celestial bodies, namely the moon and the earth. Since moon is closer to the earth, it exerts greater gravitational force on the water of sea. Thus, the water bulges up or rises up. At the same time, Earth's gravitational force pulls the bulged water or rised up water down, thus causes the fall of the water bulge. In this picture, we can see the rise in water to form the tides which is towards the moon. Thus, high tides are formed. However, the highest tides of 8 to 12 meters height are formed in the locations of compounded areas or bays or even estuaries. You know, an estuary is a point where river meets the sea. In such highest tide forming zones, if are placed any turbines which could generate the electricity, the falling tides rotates the turbines or the wheel or the fan of the turbines, converting the tidal force into mechanical and then into electrical energy. In the given picture down here shows the barrier tidal force using the tidal fans or tidal mills. Fine, then how exactly this electrical energy is restored from the tides? In this given slide, we find a wall construction in the high tidal zone areas. This dam or wall is called a barrier or a gate. Here we call it as sluice gates. During the high tidal period, water gets collected towards the tidal basin zone, the area where the tidal water is collected and stored. When the barrier is open with the gates and a turbine is placed in its way of water, the rushing water of the tidal basin starts rotating the turbines and forms the mechanical energy. Now, that mechanical energy is converted into storable electrical energy using generators or grid, etc. Later, it is transported to the area where the need is. This is how our tidal force is converted into the electrical energy. Coming on to the uses of tidal energy, the electrical energy is generated from the tidal force is used for household and business purposes, thus reduces the usage and burning of the fossil fuels that emits the greenhouse gases and reduce the global warming. After we understanding the uses of tidal energy, now we shall discuss on the advantages of tidal energy. Tidal energy is clean and compact, harnessing. So this tidal energy is clean and compact. The harnessing of electrical energy from tidal energy emits no greenhouse gases, hence it is called clean. It is compact because the tidal plant is not very spacious to occupy a large area. The largest tidal power plant of the world is Siva Lake Tidal Power Station, which is situated in the South Korea. It is built on in 1994. The energy of 25 megawatts was used by North Korea and is used for the agricultural and irrigation purposes. You can see a pic of it in the down left. In India, around 8,000 megawatts of tidal energy is used, and it includes the places of the Gujarat and Kutch base. The next advantage of tidal energy is it is continuous and predictable energy resource. As we know, tides are formed due to gravitational force of moon and the earth. As long as these two celestial bodies exist, the continuity of tides is seen on the earth. As we also know that the time prediction of the moon appearance, so also is the time prediction of the tides even. The next is longevity of equipments of restoring the tidal energy. The tidal power plants have a very long life than the other type of non-conventional energy resources like wind turbines or solar panels. So also is the long concrete structures which are built near the rivers or barrages near the estuaries. They have around 100 years of lifespan. For instance, here, Lawrence is a tidal power station which is seen in France, is operated since 1966 and is generating electricity till today. Above is the picture of this slide, shows the Lawrence tidal power plant of the France. After we understanding advantages of tidal energy, now we shall discuss on their disadvantages. It includes lack of research in the development of technically efficient barrages and even turbines when compared to hydropower plants of dams that generates the hydroelectricity. Next is, these turbines emits electromagnetic radiations that disrupts the marine life. For instance, the small fishes makes their way into the turbines, causing the death. The next disadvantage is high cost of construction of tidal power plants. Example, Siva Lake tidal power plant had made use of $560 million for its construction. So is the Lawrence power plant of $620 million. The next non-conventional energy type is geothermal energy. Geo means earth, thermal means heat or heat energy. So, geothermal energy refers to heat extracted from the earth. This type of energy is used in the largest thermal fields called the geysers of California. It includes 117 square kilometers of area that hosts 22 power plants. You can see it in the picture down here. What is this geothermal energy? When we look into the organization of the earth, it has rocks and fluids below the earth's crust. And a very hot molten rock called magma is seen in its inner core, which is present at the depth of 4,000 to 6,000 meters. Between these hot rocks, there exists water table. This water, which is close to the inner heart core, gets heated up to 60 and 80 degrees centigrades of range, which comes out to the surface of the earth through the crevices and holes, forming the hot springs or hot vapor streams or reservoirs. The hot steam or water is used to drive the turbines that in turn generates the electricity. There are three types of geothermal power plants, such as dry steam, flash, and binary plants. In dry steam plants, the hot steam is directly used to run the turbines and thus generates the electricity, as what you see in the first picture down. The second type is flash plants, in which the hot pressure hot water is cooled down and is used to turn the turbines and generate the electricity. Whereas the binary plants makes use of the hot water, first is converted into the dry steam, and this dry steam is used to run the turbines to generate the electricity. So both the types of power plants are shown down in the picture of this slide. After we understanding the working principle of various types of geothermal power plants, we shall now discuss the uses of the geothermal energy. The hot water springs are basically used for bathing, cooking, and heating of household purposes. Bathing in hot mineral water has good health benefits, which we call it as balneological benefits. Then comes the other uses, namely the heating up of buildings in the ice-cold environment. It is also used to dry the food, to mine the gold, and even in the pasteurization of milk. The most advanced usage of geothermal power is to generate the electricity using the active turbines. Students, remember, the turbines are similar to that of the wind turbines, as what we have discussed earlier. The next is advantages of geothermal energy. Geothermal energy is a good resource for the environment, as it is extracted from the earth without burning the fossil fuels like coal, petrol, etc. Thus shows no emission of the greenhouse gases that pollutes the environment. It is a reliable, renewable energy resource because of its production site on the is the inner core of the earth, which is always hot since its formation. So this geothermal energy is available all along the year. The next advantage is its high efficiency and suitable for all seasons and situations. It requires no maintenance or less maintenance, with 25 to 50 years of warranty of equipments used in the power plants. The next advantage, after we understanding advantages, Now we will look into the concept of disadvantages of geothermal energy. Geothermal energy power plants generally emits greenhouse gases with various concentration compared to the burning of fossil fuels. At the specific location of these power plants gets cooled down after some time, so to harvest the energy from such plants becomes impossible. It requires high tidal investment costs, also requires a large land space for installing the power plants. So this is about the geothermal energy. The next concept that we shall understand is biodiesel. Biodiesel is finding its application very widely in present days. Students, diesel is a byproduct obtained from the distillation of crude oil or fossil fuel. It is widely used to run the transportation vehicles. But our present condition is depletion of this crude oil, and its exploration has become very costly. But we cannot give up our comforts, we need the comforts. So our comforts cannot be changed so easily. Thus is the most necessity of an alternative form of the diesel, which is called as biodiesel. It is a liquid fuel, renewable, most effective biodegradable diesel manufactured from, understand, it is manufactured from the vegetable oils like soya and palm oil or from the animal fats, etc. Chemically, it is called as a monoalkyl esters of long chains of fatty acids, and commercially it is branded as B100. It has similarities and much high effectiveness with its characters compared to the fossil fuel diesel. To name a few, specific gravity is 0.88, viscosity is 4 to 6, density is 7.3, higher heating value is 127, hundreds are 960, carbon weight is 77%, hydrogen weight is 12%, oxygen weight is 11%, and sulfur content is 0 to 0.0015%. So, biodiesel is obtained from algae, cyanobacteria, as they have nearly 40% of lipids in them, which is extracted and used for the synthesis of biodiesel. Coming on to the applications of biodiesel, it is used equivalent to the fossil fuel diesel, but shows reduced emissions and thus prolongs the life of the engine. It is not toxic and it's biodegradable compound. It has highest energy in it. Next is advantages of biodiesel. It is produced from renewable resources like vegetable oil and animal fats, not like the petroleum products, which takes years of time for the degradation. Then biodiesel emits less pollutants, reduced greenhouse gases of 86%, then reduced particulate matter, that is of 47%. So the pollution of air, what it causes is lesser compared to the fossil fuel diesel. It also emits 67% of hydrocarbons only. It is used in the present or existing diesel engines without any modification. So the engine which is used for the fossil fuel diesel can also be used for biodiesel also without any changes. as it has character of sulfur-free compound, it do not trouble the engine's efficiency anytime. It emits less greenhouse gases, thus reduces the global warming and protects the environment. It is a supportive compound to the establishment of our country's esteem and pride, because it reduces our dependence on the neighboring or foreign suppliers for the crude oil. The production site of biofuels or biodiesel releases very less toxic chemicals to the environment. Biodiesel is biodegradable and non-toxic. It is less combustible and hence is safe to handle, store and transport when compared to very highly inflammable petrol or diesel. Biodiesel is highly economical or cheaper by cost, having more health benefits on comparison with the crude oil diesel. The diesel produces air pollutants that form smog. You know, smog is a mixture of smoke and fog that disturbs the health of the people. Coming on to the disadvantages of the biodiesel, biodiesel varies in quality because variety of biofuels, fuel crops and animal fat shows variation with the amount of energetics. So all biofuel crops will not give the similar kind of energetics. It varies with the kind. For example, soya, it will give a different kind of energetics. With the corn, it will give a different kind of energetics. With the animal fat, it will give a different kind of energetics. So the biodiesel of its source of formation is the deciding factor of the energetics, what it produces. It is not suitable for use in low temperatures because temperature of the biodiesel activation depends on the temperature of the oil or the fat that was used to prepare it. However, it is recorded that the use of biodiesel at colder months is better gelling. Biodiesel can harm or melt the rubber parts of these engines at a very high or increased efficiency. The next one is cost of production of biodiesel is comparatively higher than the petroleum diesel. It was estimated roughly 1.5 times more expensive than the petroleum diesel. Biodiesel may lead to food crisis and demand for the vegetable oil and animal fats. For example, production of biodiesel from corn may rise the demand and become more expensive that affects the poor community. Also, the growth of biodiesel crops may use more of fertilizers. Thus, the soil or the land pollution is seen that affects the environment. So also is the water. When more water is used for growing up of these crops or products, it may lead to the water shortage and scarcity of that particular place. Students, remember, biodiesel also emits 10% of nitrogen oxides that affects the ozone layer and causes the acid rain. So after we understanding the biodiesel, the next concept is biogas. It is a non-conventional type of energy resource. Fine, students, in ancient days and few decades back, fuel wood was at much usage at household purposes. It has less carbon in it and release of impurities like sulfur, chlorine, silicon is very high. These contaminants or impurities produces the smoke and ash. It was really a painful job to our lovely mothers of those days, especially the mothers of villages even today. But at present, such difficult life style is totally replaced by another energy resource, that is biogas. To understand the biogas, we need to know about the concept of biomass. Biomass is the organic matter obtained from the living organisms such as residues of the crops, waste of the animals, debris of the forests, and solid waste of the municipality areas, etc. So biomass contains 75% of carbon along with the hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. These biomass, when is subjected for anaerobic decomposition in a closed container system, it produces the mixture of gases like methane and carbon dioxide. These gases of methane and carbon dioxide is called biogas. It is used for household purposes like heating, cooking, etc. Biogas is produced in a concrete dome-like plant, which is called generally as biogas digester. It has a central tank built in the underground that has an outlet and an inlet on either sides and a gas collection chamber on its top. Students, in this slide of first picture shows the setup of outlet and inlet units with a middle gas chamber. The second picture depicts a model of biogas digester. The inlet collects the organic waste like left out food, then cow dung, vegetable or kitchen waste, etc., which are mixed with the water. Generally it is called slurry. The waste after inletting is the inlet chamber is closed. The digester in its and it is left for few weeks, and the digester in its central chamber now shows organic anaerobic decomposition, which will release the gases like methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfides, etc. And these gases are harvested and distributed through the decentralized channels or of the household purposes. The waste which is left out after the decomposition is used as manure or fertilizer for the agricultural lands. Coming on to the applications of biogas. It is environment friendly energy resource because it reduces the garbage formation and produces flammable gases like methane and carbon dioxide. These gases are used for cooking and heating purposes of the household, and it is also used to generate the electricity. It produces less pollutants, and the waste is used as, or left out is used as a fertilizer or manure later. The wider use of biogas in present days is to generate the electricity. Here in the picture, you can see the generation of electricity from biogas. How? Biogas is used to boil the water in a furnace to form the steam. This steam is used to rotate the turbine that is attached to it, which will generate the electricity, and this electricity is stored and utilized when the need arises. Coming on to the advantages of the biogas. It is non-polluting as it emits no harmful gases or greenhouse gases. It reduces disposable sites like the landfills, thus prevents the land or soil pollution. The technology used here is very cheaper and of less cost. Then it generates the employment in rural areas for the purpose, I'm sorry, for the purpose of generating the electricity, and the people who work for it gets the benefit of it. It is a good renewable energy resource because the energy production is dependent on the waste that is added or generated here. Coming on to the disadvantages of biogas. It is not efficient to produce in large scale, and it contains impurities. It forms the impurities that causes the corrosiveness to the digester itself, thus reduces its lifespan. It is unstable because oxygen reacts readily with the methane, so the production of carbon dioxide is high. Methane may cause explosions during the storage process. Students, with this, we are completing the concepts of tidal energy, geothermal energy, biodiesel, and biogas. All are important for your main exam. Hope the concepts are easy to understand. Each concept is important for short notes of 5 marks. All the energy resources together may be asked as a major question for 10 marks. Fine, if you have any queries or doubts or comments, please post them to my WhatsApp number. I wish you all a very good day ahead. Thank you.